Welcome to another episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media. And tonight, put your pedal to the metal and pump some nitro as we steer you through Redline and Speed Racer. I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jonathan.
Holy shit, we're going so fucking fast! Sorry.
These fucking movies have so much in common as far as, like, I mean, you have the racing aspect in both of them, and there's a lot in common with the two of them, but I think their stylistic choices are what really set them apart here.
But before we go anywhere,
Oh.
there is another common thing. Both of the two dudes, the main stars of either film, they're both himbos.
What does that mean?
You know what a bimbo is?
Yeah.
The opposite of that. They're both.
Oh, they're just very dutsy?
They're like kind of dumb. They're pretty attractive. They're well built. They're athletic. So
Never
they're
heard the
himbos.
term
You know, like
himbo.
the Mummy.
Yeah.
You know, fucking Brendan Fraser in the Mummy. He's a himbo.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Shit.
So they're both fucking. That's what they are.
So the qualifications for a himbo are attractive,
Yes. Athletic
athletic,
or well
and
built,
kind of dumb.
and kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Or
Yeah.
maybe naive.
They can't be smart.
No,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
But it should also be noted that this episode is a Patreon requested
It is.
episode.
Woohoo!
So our patron Eric was the one who recommended Redline to us. Thank you for the recommendation.
Woo, Eric!
We'll begin discussing it.
I had seen Redline before, but I don't know why I just hadn't considered it as something that we could talk about. Maybe on one of the non-horror episodes I was going to recommend it, but I just hadn't yet. So when you guys brought it up, it's such a good film. It's easily one of my most favorite films.
I'm sad I didn't watch it before. This is my first time seeing it.
And it was
What
great to
a
see your reactions.
ride.
The first time I ever heard of Redline was when I went to Mitch's Halloween party, and they were playing it at the party.
Oh, that's right. You told me.
And the
that.
thing is, we
yeah.
were getting really fucked up outside, but had I known Redline was playing, I probably would have been in there watching
I
that
would
shit.
have sat down and watched
I
it.
mean, the setup for that party was pretty hilarious because I invited, like, everybody, all my friends, so all of my, like, gamer nerd friends, like,
oh, gotcha.
like piled up inside to watch an anime while the rest of us were outside, you know,
Hanging out.
getting fucked up.
Doing what we do.
Yep, there you go.
That was the party with the mead, right?
Hell yeah, the mead.
So
Oh,
good.
the mead kegs.
yeah. How often do you have a mead keg?
Rarely. I don't know if I'll ever do that again because I feel like I I just completely like jilted people out of money at the time, like
so
while I
many
did that.
fucking headaches.
Yeah, but it was great.
What, really? I felt like that was
felt
well
great.
worth it, and I
Yeah.
felt great after.
Well, I'm glad that's how good. I didn't feel like everybody got exactly as much as they should have based on what they
gotcha.
put into it.
Okay.
That's what I felt.
Oh,
anyway.
I
but,
did.
But this is too
yeah,
much of our
same.
personal life, and we're on to Redline right now.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
should we start with
please.
Speed Racer first?
Because we have
Oh.
more to say about Redline.
Yes.
I have a lot
Absolutely.
to say.
I have way more to say about
Yeah.
Redline, but that's not because Speed Racer is a terrible movie. It's just it's a little
It's a
little
fun
less.
movie.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to start, it's like well hated by critics, and
It has like a 16%.
Understandable.
yeah, they fucking hated this
Yeah.
movie because they were bashing on it for its plot. They were saying like it wasn't in depth enough for the characters, but I don't think they really knew what the source material was. Like
It's a fucking Saturday cartoon.
yeah, Speed
Yeah.
Racer was a Saturday morning
I
cartoon.
remember watching that when
Like
I
it
was
was
younger.
cheesy as fuck. I don't really know
Agreed.
what they were really trying to say about it. Like they wanted a more serious or dark tone, but it was based off a Saturday morning cartoon, so it really wasn't supposed to be like
I
that.
think what they're trying to say is, hey, there's comics. Do the comics. Because the comics are darker.
Some of them.
But also, the fucking TV show is dark because I saw a video on the internet
I love that video.
called Speed Racer is fucking savage. It's like, Speed, you gotta let that guy win. If he doesn't win, he can't pay for his sister's hospital bills. He's like, well, it wouldn't be a fair race if I let him win.
Motherfucker speeds up. He does not like to lose.
I think that's something people will totally miss is that it's trying to emulate the feel of those Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, exactly.
I even got like a weird like Spy Kids vibe off of it. Every
Oh,
time,
yeah.
like,
Oh,
every time the
totally.
young kid and the monkey
Yeah.
get involved in anything,
Oh
I'm
my
just like
God.
Spy Kids right now. We're in Spy Kids.
It has
The-
that weird CGI, that weird Spy Kids 3D CGI in
Right.
it.
Well, the entire film was shot like on a green screen, and they made everything in focus, so it looks like a live action anime. So like they wanted it to look like that. And that's why it's yeah, go ahead.
I think they did a really good job with that. Like, I think in a way it makes this movie like an animated movie.
Yeah.
Because so much of it really was not actually there. It was really all shot on green screen.
Yeah, it was all
Barely
CGI.
anything we're seeing is really there. So
just
it's kind
the
of like an
humans.
anime in a
The
way.
Mach 5 was real though. A
Yeah.
real usable car. They
Yeah.
just added in all the effects later. But they had it at Comic-Con at like 2007 or 8.
Oh yeah, this movie came out in 2008.
Yes.
It's a dope car.
It was
Just saying.
directed by the Wachowski brothers.
So an interesting fact that we should point out about the Wachowskis is that they both went through a transition. So they're the Wachowski sisters at this point.
Nice.
And then they had completed their transition shortly after Speed Racer came out. So
okay.
very important for them.
Got it.
Yeah. Although the movie does credit them as the Wachowski brothers. So it's like it was slightly before it.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But what else did they do though?
They did The Matrix
Oh, okay.
and V for Vendetta, and they also did Cloud Atlas.
And Jupiter Ascending. Yeah.
Okay, but I liked Jupiter Ascending because it was super cheesy, but it was also what's his name? The guy from the stripper movie with the dudes.
Magic
Mike.
Who was the dude in there? Channing
It's Channing
Tatum. It was Channing
Tatum.
Tatum. It was Channing Tatum and the girl from fucking That 70s Show. The
Jackie.
Jackie, yeah. It was them two in that
Oh my
Jupiter Ascending.
God.
It was such a bad pairing, but the
Yikes.
Well,
movie was like really
Jupiter
well done.
Ascending is that movie that you watch because it's so bad it's good.
They actually made money on that.
Yeah.
They made like 10 million on that.
All right.
You want
Yeah,
to talk to
surprise.
us about like a little bit about the Speed Racer production?
So like we mentioned before, it was sort of a special landmark for one of the Wachowski sisters, in particular Lana, who had just completed her transition right after the film came out. And so they were really pressing on them to talk more about the transition in the public eye, because people had noticed that they were like basically changing every time they showed up in front of an audience. And eventually they did come out and say that they both were going through a transition period, and it was really important to them because it had a lot to do with their writing and their upbringing. So it's just important to note that and to make sure that they don't get misgendered.
This movie was like in production for years.
A long time. They had
Like,
so
even
many
from the
ups and downs
90s.
with it. So what's hilarious is that the original people were supposed to be much different. Like, I think Racer X was supposed to be Henry Rollins.
I don't know
That would
about
be
that
hard.
one, Chief.
I don't know if that would have been bad. I would have been okay with Henry Rollins being like, but I don't know.
He would fit it, though. He's badass.
Yeah, he would fit the Racer
Yeah.
X, like the mysterious, like badass racer, like stereotype, or like I guess, the trope. Yeah, the trope.
Well, originally Johnny Depp was supposed to be Speed Racer because he was, I don't know, 20. How many years younger? Like
He was
18
at least
years
in
younger.
his 30s, probably.
Yeah, he was close, and he had that youngish look to him where he could probably do it.
I don't know. I think he looks a little too old to be Speed Racer.
Well,
just
now he
saying.
does because he's like
well, like
50.
even back then, I don't know. You'd have to do a lot of makeup.
They
on
were
him, just
probably
saying.
referencing like Crybaby and all the other shit when he was making films where he was the pretty boy.
Yeah,
And
I
they
could
were
get
like, he could
that.
do it. But then because production wasn't moving forward, he just left the project. But one of the more hilarious parts was that Vince Vaughn tried to revive the project and actually got starred as, was it Racer X? Yeah, he was going to be Racer X and then was trying to push the project forward, but then again, it didn't happen, so he left the project.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and then eventually the Wachowskis were hired on to write and direct.
And they stayed true, like faithful to the show.
Yeah.
As much as they could. They got like Trixie in the in the helicopter.
Yep.
They got the chimp and the little kid always hiding in the back of the fucking Mach 5. I mean, Racer X, he is the brother, which
Yeah.
we didn't know that until the end because there's a twist.
I mean, it was so heavy
I was
that
so
you just
mad
knew
about
the whole
that.
time.
Well,
See, I thought I knew, and then I was like, wait, maybe I didn't know, but no, I actually knew.
I know, I fucked with you too. You
Yeah,
asked me
you
if it was,
fucked with
yeah,
me.
you asked me if it was him, and I was like, yeah, it's totally him. And then he's like, no, I'm not your brother. And she was like, oh, what? And then the end came. She was like, oh wait, it's actually his brother. So I was like, yeah, I got you twice.
John
Sorry.
Not
Goodman.
cool.
John Goodman's amazing in this
Yeah.
movie, but he's amazing in anything he gets chosen for.
That's
I just
true.
love that he was an old mechanic who used to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
I do love all the parts where they like accentuate the profession of these people. Like as soon as he shows up, it's just like boom, like
Yeah.
college wrestler. And then
Yes,
he just starts
right into his
beating
ring.
them. And then it just starts like beating them all up like really hard, and it's great.
Okay, but I do have to make a comment that they were having like racist overtones with the Asian characters in the
Okay,
movie.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I guess they were supposed to be like Chinese ninjas, and then they were supposed to be Japanese characters as well. But they adhered really strongly to like they have no sense of humor. They're very serious, and they might have like these comical moments where they're getting their ass whooped, like when John Goodman whoops the ninja's ass. He's just like, oh, I was like, this is kind of weird. But that was the only part that felt weird about the movie.
I didn't even notice that because I was just like, oh shit, there's ninjas in a Speed Racer movie.
Not surprising though. He
Yeah,
often
definitely
fought
not
ninjas in the
Like,
cartoon.
yeah, that's literally what I was thinking. But both movies feature a mafia that cheats.
It's true, and they're really cheesy characters. Although,
Yeah.
well, not in Redline. Redline, he's actually pretty
They're
legit
pretty
mafia.
terrifying.
Yeah,
Plus,
but
you're also dealing with, what is it, Roboplanet's government?
oh god, that was great.
We'll get into
Just fanatical robots who are like fuck everybody else.
Vaguely resembles Trump, just saying.
Oh my god, yeah, even the hairstyle.
Okay.
We'll get to Redline in a moment.
I know. So the Wachowskis have often noted that when they were writing their scripts, that it was based off of a Dungeons and Dragons game. That they kind of styled it after the multiple stories aspect, and that they often would play when they were younger, so they tried to bring that aspect into their storytelling. So that's why whenever you watch any of their films, there's multiple things happening at once. And that was what really led to the progression of the stories.
I guess that's why all your characters always have a specialization.
Yep,
They always have
exactly.
a class, etc., etc.
Then you got this sort of editing that's just like flash by flash by flash. Like things are going on at once. There's flashbacks, there's announcers, there's like people saying, oh shit, go, go, go. All in like solid swoops of just like 50 scenes in one swipe just going on. And that's the thing, like the racing in this movie is phenomenal. It's fun. I enjoy it.
It actually made me want to go watch a NASCAR race, which I've never
it's
really
just
wanted
nothing
to
like this.
before. I know. I imagine it's definitely not as colorful.
You want to
but-
watch something interesting? You should actually go watch Formula One racing.
Yeah.
That is actually pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what the most interesting racing is, though?
No.
It's the marble races.
Oh my!
What?
So
You've not seen this
you haven't-
video?
Yeah, there is an entire
good.
channel dedicated to
Yes.
marble racing where this guy
He
he's
makes
the
it.
announcer.
Like, he
yeah, he
makes
makes
those
all the
videos.
tracks and everything, and then there's like teams of marbles. My roommate's really into it and like has his favorite team and whatnot. And like the marbles have gotten damaged, so there's like clips of like them falling off the track and getting damaged and
Big
stuff.
marble collision.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I highly recommend looking up marble racing because it is
We gotta get the name of
enjoyable.
it so we can put
yeah,
it in the description.
it's very very fun to watch, and but yes, but also like Formula One racing is crazy. Those speeds and whatnot they're traveling at and whatnot.
If you want a good intro to what Formula One racing is, there's a really good docuseries on Netflix about it.
Oh.
And you can actually watch that, and you can watch like the last 2 years of Formula One and the teams that are on there and how competitive and all the things they go through for it. And you actually start really cheering for some of the people because every racer they choose for these are often people they just pluck out of somewhere because they're really good racers. And they're like, we're going to bring you here and give you all the money to win. But if you don't win, you're off the team like next month.
something
Stakes
I mean,
are high.
yeah.
I mean, something else that a lot of people, myself included, would underestimate about racers at those high speeds is the amount of like physical strength that's needed
Yeah.
to operate those cars because you're dealing with like centrifugal force and fighting against that to not be like fly off in that direction.
They're all super fit. Like they have their own workout regimen that's given to them and they have to adhere to it. It's interesting, but it's also like that's the closest you're going to get in real life to what you're seeing on the screen. You have to suspend a lot of disbelief.
There's a
for
lot
both of the
of
films.
like preparation for the drivers.
Yeah.
Because they have to be physically fit, like you said. But also, like the main character who plays Speed Racer, he watched the entire Speed Racer
I love
series
that. I love that he
in
did.
preparation for the role.
Yeah. He did that. He went and talked to a bunch of different like NASCAR racers to get an idea of what it's like to like be the racer. And then they all I like that the film zoomed in on his face so much because that's what they did in the cartoon a lot. It would like zoom into his eyes on like in the helmet.
Serious moment.
Yeah, they're like this is a serious moment. And then they would do like the Speed Racer like theme song.
or just like those like just those like headshots and whatnot where it's like just his head in the screen and whatnot and he's like talking to someone. It's very much like very reminiscent of that
Yeah.
cartoon.
He always had his team with him. So they're always talking to his ear about what they should do and everyone's involved.
And that's the thing. The family is what really matters in this movie. You got like the main bad character like trying to sign him on to a corporate kind of thing. He
Who's
tells him like
great.
he tells him like his dreams, like, oh, you know, me and my pops, like we started this. with our brother, and like it's a family thing. Like it's what we live. Racing is a religion to us. And he's like, "You're fucking kidding me, right?"
I love that scene because he talks about this grand moment of just being like, the corporations are basically the devil to us. And he lets him like say his whole spiel, and then he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "This thing has been rigged since we started it." And then goes on this long explanation of how he ended up rigging the Grand Prix.
And that seems to be the case in like the real world of a lot of competitions like boxing or like racing, is that a lot of times they are rigged.
This was straight commentary on big sports and how often that they are influenced by corporations that want to make money.
There's
off these people.
so much money that goes into sports. I mean, just look at all the betting money.
Even Redline had it, where they were doing the fixing and betting on who would win the red line and the yellow line, and even like forced him to lose in yellow line. So it's like it was totally a reflection of real life things that happen, and then they added on all these sci-fi elements. But as far as like the budget for it, it was 120 million, and it only made 93.9 million for Speed Racer. So they lost money making it.
Aww.
It was so bad that they were nominated for a Raspberry Award, aka a Razzie, which is considered to be a pretty bad honor unless you have a good sense of humor.
I mean, I can kind of get how the expectations were a little bit let down considering who was making the film. The films they've put out in the past were very
really good.
Intense.
They're really good.
Yeah. I mean
this wasn't a bad movie.
Not to say it wasn't a good movie, but it wasn't nearly as dark or intense or as very like driving as some of their movies have been in the past. Like The Matrix, V for Vendetta, those are really like memorable movies. They really make you stop and think, but this was more entertainment. I mean, there were a lot of things to think about. There's definitely things to unpack, but ultimately it was a very visual piece of work.
They were also the third team to be brought into production, and they were forced to finish it in a small timeline. So the entire thing was shot in 60 days. Which is like
insane.
Very short for that long of a movie. It's like plus 2 hours, I think. So it's like
it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, which I think it's a little long, honestly.
It is a little long. The middle moments were a little too slow for in between the races. But I mean, they had to have their family moments where they're explaining their motives and shit.
I have to agree. I think that's one of the weaker parts of this movie is like the in-between. Like all your racing shots and everything are high adrenaline, super fun, crazy like back and forths between all the drivers. And then all the dialogue in between is kind of like, I don't know, it can be really dry a lot of the times.
It felt very soap opera, like, "You killed my father."
Oh, it was definitely meant to be melodramatic. Like that's how the show is. So that's how they acted it. The guy who plays the villain is great. He also played a villain in V for Vendetta, and he is trying to emulate a specific British commentator who is like far right and is such a piece of shit. So he's just like, I had to be this guy, and you love to hate this guy because he's such a good villain. He even had like discolored teeth.
Love it.
Yeah, he was great for that role as a corporate CEO.
And that's the thing, like they find out that he's cheating because he uses the spear hook.
Yeah.
And then he uses the jump to like show the cameras that has an illegal spear hook. And that's the thing, like his race is not the race on the track, it's the stock market.
Yeah, pretty much. He explains it all.
They even had to like save a fucking corporate, the Japanese corporation from buying out simply because they were going under because the racer just kept losing.
I mean, that's a real thing though. Like that actually happens often, is that corporations just get bought out because of the influence of one person on their team. Like this happens a lot with smaller teams when they're going up against, say, like Red Bull. Mm-hmm. Like Red Bull owns so many fucking sports teams. I know, as we drink our Red Bull, they own so much shit that other smaller corporations that try to go up against them just lose because they don't have enough money to even like compete with their marketing in some cases. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that gets brought into it. I think the only other thing I wanted to mention about the production was the people that they thought would be in the movie or were trying to get. So Speed Racer, they were trying to get Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Shia LaBeouf, or Zac Efron, and eventually landed on Emile Hirsch. But imagine if you had Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Speed Racer.
I'm thinking about Shia LaBeouf. That'd be a whole other movie.
I mean, I would believe him. He was Indiana Jones' son.
There's something
good for adventure.
There's something to mention here. A lot of these actors look like actors that you recognize, but they aren't. Like the main, like one of the guys that's a bad dude. He kind of looks like Sylvester Stallone. Like I look at the
I
speed.
was thinking that too.
Wait, which dude?
Yeah,
the guy that drives the really fancy car at the last race.
Oh, Cannonball, whatever. Cannonball Taylor.
And then I was looking and I was seeing like Speed Racer kind of looks like the son of like Henry from Eraserhead. He kind of has that similar face. Not the son, but you know what I mean? Like he looks like he'd be the son of the
No,
actor.
I get you. Yeah. And then they also considered Rose McGowan for Trixie. So that would have been interesting if they had chosen.
Hey,
Rose
Trixie
McGowan.
races in this shit.
She's dope. They actually gave her more screen time than they would in like the cartoons because she's always a side character in all of the TV series, and she doesn't really drive all that much. So
I was really hyped to see that.
it was cool to see her.
Also, it's one of the best races because it's the race where they could all have illegal weapons, and so you got a lot of fucking. You got the mafia like paying off these different groups to eradicate and kill these people, basically.
Yeah, that was so cheesy and very like stereotype for all of the people in there. Like there's like these Viking dudes who are
Give
just
them furs.
eating in a mess hall, and they bring them furs, and they're like, yes, and they start like rubbing it on their faces. That was like one of the weirder moments of that.
One thing I also noticed, like Redline, is this movie had that pop star duo.
God, I love
female
them.
racers.
Oh my god, they're like pop stars on their planet. They're very like they're like sex positive people, and the most hilarious line from the movie is, I think it was Captain Voltan is just like, what? You need to take care of those cosplaying rejects from a porno. I was like, oh my god.
Boss
I
and
love
bum bum.
Yes, exactly.
Buy our new single now.
They're like advertising while they're like showing up for the race. It's great.
And I noticed that in Speed Racer, they also had a pair of drivers like that.
Yeah, they did. They just didn't really.
They paid them off in like diamonds. Those.
Yeah,
those
they're super
pink
glamorous.
tracksuit.
They included them. They just didn't have them as like speaking roles.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, that was pretty much for production. There is one instance where a chimp on set got smacked by a handler. And
that's why PETA came
Yeah,
down.
that's why they came in and were like, what the fuck's going on? Because somebody on set has to watch the animals. So someone will show up and be on set every day to watch it, make sure that they're not being mistreated. And the chimp had previously bitten the kid in like a scene before, and then I guess the handler got frustrated with the chimp and just fucking hit it, and then the dude witnessed it, went and reported it, and then so the movie's on like a list of like movies at the American Humane Society, or what is it? It's the AHA. They put it onto a list where they do not approve of this movie because animals were injured.
Yeah, who the fuck slaps a chimp?
Yeah, I don't really know what the fuck happened where they were just like out of nowhere just smacked the chimp.
I'm really disappointed that the chimp didn't rip someone's arm off in the movie. like we were
He
watching,
did fling shit at someone's face.
and he hit him with a wrench.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of him for doing that. But all I'm saying is, like, I'm just picturing Joe Rogan like, yeah, chimps could fucking rip people's arms off. I'm like, dude, rip that guy's arm off. Chimp, come on. Also, what's really funny is, like, the chimp wears human clothes.
Oh, it's great.
And fucking the kid wears monkey-covered clothes.
Yeah. They even have their moment where they're watching like this anime version of a fight, and they like both start doing poses on the couch and jumping at each other. It's great.
What was that anime though? Because I want to watch.
I think it was
like
made
some
for the
Afro
movie.
Samurai dude.
It really did. No, what's that anime? The Bobo.
You mean Bobo 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 Bobo?
That's what it reminded me of. The dude had an afro.
Shit.
I love that you both knew exactly how to say the title.
Hey.
Thank you,
bump,
Adult
fist bump.
Swim.
Yeah, for real. Thank you, Adult Swim, for introducing us to all those weird animes. But I mean, so you guys have already gotten into what your initial thoughts were for it. So like, what are the things that really stood out to you for Speed Racer?
I think the visual element, because everything was so colorful and bright. It was like a trip, the entire movie. You have these crazy lights, these fast music, driving music, and you have crazy driving on top of that. A little bit of drama spiced in, but it was a lot of fun to watch. You know, it's a casual evening movie to see.
I just thought it was a lot of fun overall. And I think the big thing for me is, because both movies reflect on this, it's like, why do you race? Is a question that is like questioned.
Yeah, well, the two head racers, so Speed Racer and JP, they're both like, they place them as these really honorable people. They are not like dirty racers.
And it just reminds me of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, jeez.
It's like,
yeah, no, I know what you're
Shinji,
talking
why
about.
do you pilot the Eva?
Yeah.
Because I want to make my dad proud. And then you like look at like Asuka, who's a totally different character. And it's like, why do you pilot your Eva? It's like, because I want everyone to love me.
Yeah, it's completely different.
So I like that dynamic. I think the family, I feel like they are a family. Like
Yeah.
they'll go through hell together just so, I mean, even if they have $2 to their name, they'll try to keep racing.
Okay, I have to say that's one thing, as cheesy as it is, I kind of like this just humble, like, little home family that's coming into this big race of all of these, you know, big company backed people, and they made something of themselves.
They're like the independent racers. Like
Yeah.
their company is like family owned, independent run. He even says that to the Royalton Industries when he comes to his house. He's like, no offense, but like it's always been independent. And this was such a good piece of commentary about when they try to buy out smaller teams.
Yeah, like how long does it take you to make a racer? Oh,
Yeah.
it takes us 36 hours. How long for you? About 7 weeks.
Yeah, he's like, you know, it's like a couple weeks. And they have all these facilities, but they were really driving home the point that the Royalton Industries like didn't have any heart. Like they were kind of
Yeah.
just producing all of these things for these races, and they just wanted to win for money.
I mean, they even wanted to buy her pancake recipe.
Yeah, he was like, I need this for my special piece of the industry where they make they make meals for it.
There's this one thing I like too, where the mom was having that conversation with what's his name, Speedy, the Speedy boy.
I think his name is just Speed.
Okay, yeah. I was never sure about that. I was like, is that?
Oh
a
yeah,
nickname?
his actual name is Speed Racer.
Okay, but he and his mother were having this conversation, and she was basically saying like, when I see you go on the track, I see you make art.
Yeah.
And I think that was really significant because that sets it apart from just being a mechanical thing to being something organic and biological. You know, this is passion. This is love that I put into it. It isn't about money. It isn't about the parts that I can buy.
That is something I will give the movie a lot of credit for. They have a lot of nice, tender moments with the family and a lot of positive masculinity in the film where they hug each other.
Yeah.
They say that they're proud of each other, that they're okay. They're expressing a lot of their emotions.
Good job, Sparky.
Yeah, even John Goodman, his character at the beginning, like he tells his older brother, like, you're turning your back on me, is like super upset. But then when Speed Racer goes, he's like, I want to say I'm sorry, like before you go, like I totally support you. So like you have some character growth by the time he sees his other son go and do pretty much the same thing.
Thinking about like what the critics said about the script, I can't agree with them.
Yeah, I don't really know what they were talking about when it came to that, because they did really go in on the family. Maybe on the extra characters they didn't really go in that much, but I feel like they had enough character depth for the family for you to actually care about them. Plus really good performances from the mom and dad.
I think it's also pretty great when Speed actually meets his hero from like a kid, the Bobby guy.
God, finds out he's a fucking sham.
Yeah, that he cheated.
Yeah.
Immediately tears down his poster, and then the guy ends up cheering for him at the last race.
That's true. He is one of the announcers at the end, and like realizes that there's been a change because he won, like regardless of what had happened. But I mean, that was one of the really good moments though, when he comes in and is just like entering last minute into a race that he was not supposed to be a part of. And it's like they have all the people there to support the ruling, so they're like, yeah, this is going to go through. So that was dope.
You also have this weird FBI detective like backstory that's like in the background for some reason with Racer X.
Yeah, it's the corporation his brother was working with. They're kind of like like Interpol.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but for their universe.
Oh, okay.
They just handle these crimes within the like special racing. What was it? The World
Syndicate.
God, what was it? WFA. WRA, World Racing Association. That's what it was. Yeah, that's like what all the rich dudes had made, and then they have like this little legal panel that does all the rulings for it.
And then like by the end of the movie, the big corporate guy gets fucked up.
Yeah, that was the most hilarious piece of clip art that they did for like, he gets in prison, he's indicted, like he's gonna go to prison, and then the judge says, cheaters never prosper. I'm like, this is such a bad wrap up, but like whatever.
It's all worth it for the credits section with Chimp. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
What? No, obviously it's the final kiss between Christina Ricci and fucking Speed
What was
Racer.
that little PSA they put up in the beginning?
That was great.
They
Well,
were
I mean,
like,
okay, so this movie
warning,
was for all it's for all the
cooties.
kids. It was intended to be for a wide audience, so kids are probably watching it like, ew, like they're making out, they have cooties.
The cootie warning
Boy,
was
you've
pretty
seen
funny.
that in every other movie. Calm down.
One of the other things I wanted to ask about is, how did you guys feel about the women in this film? They did play a pretty significant role with Trixie and the mom.
Yeah, they're
having
all
a lot to say
they're all
about.
final girls. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just more concerned about that haircut they gave her.
Oh my god, Trixie had the
Why the
ugliest bowl cut.
Well, I liked her hair.
There's ways that you can do the bowl cut nicely. That was not a way to do it nicely. That was a choppy bowl cut.
It was a wig.
It was a wig. It was a cheap wig.
Mitch, you look like you had something to say about the wig.
About the wig.
Hey, buddy.
You know, of all the wigs that I've worn in my life, I feel like the mom was a very supportive character in this movie, as moms typically are. But she was as good moms are. You know, typically like very supportive, has a whole lot to say, supports the family and whatnot. And then of course you have Trixie, who's like, you know, watching from the sidelines, helping Speed in all of his driving and whatnot. I think that they all played a really good portion, or a role. They did a good role in this movie.
Yeah.
And had,
Let's not forget the woman going behind the company's back to give Speed Racer the Grand Prix invitation. She did
That was
good.
dope. She showed up and was like, I don't really agree with what my dad and brother did. So
It's very
here's the-
dishonorable.
Yeah, so that was the bit that I was like, they're doing this thing where the most important thing to Japanese people is always their family honor. And so I was like, this is a very typical subplot of most of these films that include Japanese characters. But whatever, it worked for bringing him back into the Grand Prix. And
Yeah, sure.
it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, though. And she shows up and is just like a very timid and shy person. And they like really... they really place that onto her character. And then at the end, even when like the dad and son are like, what, like you did what? And then she's like, oh, and like covers her face. So it was that was the things that I noticed while I was watching it. Did you guys have any favorite scenes in Speed Racer? There's a lot of action, like a lot of action.
Probably all of the scenes where anytime that Speed makes his car like flip over another car, or the part where he like falls down the side of the mountain and then just like wills the car up the side of the mountain.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
What are physics, man?
Whoa. He obviously had spike treads on his tires.
Oh, yeah, duh. Of
and his
course.
car is fast enough to climb up a straight vertical.
Yeah.
Excuse you. That is the Mach 5 doing its best
shit,
work.
I guess I don't know anything about cars, man. What can I say? I'm not a cars person.
There's like no physics in this at all. Like there's none of the movements of the cars make sense. And they can like take a beating. Like these cars were really fucking ramming into each other like all throughout the race. What? Well, I mean, you saw that kind of action in the original cartoon. Like, that was, like, a thing they brought from the cartoon onto the live screen, and it did really well. There was, I think, one part where I think someone just straight up died. Like, on the racing where...
Was it when they're going through the spiky portion, their car just, like, blew up?
Well, that's one of them.
Okay, because I was like, there's no way you can just, like, fucking pull your little parachute out of that. That doesn't
Your
work.
weird bubble thing.
Yeah, they didn't show it that someone escaped in their little, like... space bubble that saves them. Like,
I always wondered about that. Like, how many times did people actually die in this movie and just no one pointed a finger at it? You know?
It was like that. The race they have in like Fuji, I think.
Yeah.
The dude who like ends up scamming them later, the Japanese character, I can't remember his name, but he like straight up shoots someone down into like the side of a mountain, and then they just keep the racing going and no one says anything. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that person just died.
Taking out the competition.
But, you know, whatever. Like, it's fine.
Wait, every time I think it was in Speed Racer, but every time someone's car blew up, they, like, fly out of the car in, like, a bubble.
Yeah. I mean, they showed it sometimes, but not every time.
Not every time, yeah. So that one guy, the bubble just didn't activate. No airbag.
Maybe maybe it was a cheaper car. They didn't have that feature.
I think my favorite scene... I have two favorite scenes. The one is from the beginning of the movie where he doesn't steal his brother's record. I think that's very, like, significant.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
Because, like, his brother's dead. He's considered a legend in racing, but prior to that, he was considered, like, a very bad person in racing because he was very aggressive and would often murder people on the track.
Yeah, they started saying he was a dirty racer and that he was, like, working for corporations.
And eventually, I mean, he just wanted to save his brother's record and not, like, overshine it because that's the thing. It's a record. It's going to stay there until someone beats it, and he knows that no one else will. The only person that could is himself.
It was dope to see the like ghost of his brother like racing next to him.
Yeah.
And he was like matching it the whole way.
Looking to the side at his brother's ghost car.
That was cool. It also gave me a weird impression of like when you play what is it, Mario Kart? And you have like racing against some of the ghosts on the track. That's what it reminded me of, and it was pretty interesting.
Also, the scene where the guy just gets fucking fed up, the snake guy gets fed up and just starts pulling out the fucking handgun on Speed
That was
Racer.
hilarious. And the announcers are like, oh shit, he's
like, gun,
shooting
gun!
at him.
Hey, he had a bulletproof little cockpit, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But like I guess they thought of that eventuality that someone would probably have a gun.
Wild.
I love that rally racing in their universe is considered the dirty sport of the racing world. They're like, no, it's all full of like thugs and headhunters and stuff. And that was like the sporting event you didn't want to be a part of, was the rally racing.
Dad, who's driving the Mach 5 then? Just like,
Okay, but it was really cool when they made the Mach 6 for the final
Yeah.
race. That thing looked really dope. Like, it would be really cool to see that in real life, which I think they did make the Mach 6 for at least, like, for you could sit in it. But I know one of the cars, like, the Mach 5 is a real car you can drive, and it's currently in a museum in Los Angeles.
damn.
Yeah, the people who made it. There's actually a Netflix show that has the people who made it, and it shows, like, how they made it. And you can go and see that. It's pretty dope. They did a lot of fucking work, and they had, like, a one recreation of it. It's been, like, officially approved. So I think this is a good time to transition into Redline, because I think we have a lot to say about Redline. So
You're the fucking man, Mickey. You're the fucking man. I know. And he starts punching himself.
I love that they're supposed to be like Americans from Earth who are just fucking nuts.
I thought the fucking best scene was just like Gory Rider, just like, come here, you motherfuckers, and then they get arrested before they could do a blue line or whatever, and it's just like, all right, here's our interview with Todoroki and Mickey. Gory Rider, you motherfucker!
Oh, that's right.
You're destroying them of their personal civil rights. Please get out of my face.
Oh. Oh, you're talking about the cop?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cop who's just like, I am justice, and like just does whatever the fuck he wants.
This movie's fucking perfect.
It is honestly a beautifully done movie. Like, I haven't seen anything quite like this animation-wise.
It's absolutely nuts how much work they put into Redline. It was 7 years of production, over 100,000 hand-drawn pieces of artwork for this. So everything you see is hand-drawn.
It's worth it.
Oh my god, it creates such a nice effect that you saw on older anime that had that retro style look to it, except this was released in 2008 or 2009, I think. And so you got that effect on this movie, and everything about it is hyper stylized.
Not many like bits of anime do like this nice blend of like traditional anime style with like a German expressionism sort of look to them. All of the shading. There's so much shading all the time. Shadows everywhere.
Dark chiseled features on everybody.
Yeah, there's no wasted
grotesque
space.
faces. Really animated, eccentric, like eyeballs popping out, eyebrows going all over the place. Oh, so interesting to watch.
Watch this movie in HD. Like,
yes,
the 1080p version of this film is amazing.
The saddest thing I gotta say about Redline is how it killed Madhouse.
Yeah, that's okay. So I don't know if I just didn't read enough about how this happened, but for some reason, when this movie was released, shortly afterward, they just didn't do anything.
They became bankrupt after this movie.
Oh, shit.
They like fucked themselves over with this. Redline did not do good at the box office.
No, it didn't.
And it wasn't considered a great like thing for critics or like fans. It's not until like, I mean, still it's really an underground kind of anime movie that not a lot of people are talking about. So that's why we're talking about it.
Well, apparently they took too long to make it, first of all. So the company was like, can you like hurry up and finish this? We need it to be released.
Yeah, didn't it take like 7 years of production for this?
Yeah, and they didn't release it on time at the festival that they were trying to get it released for. So it got released much later in the year, like in October, when people aren't as excited as about film premieres. And so it didn't get as much attention, and then kind of just faded away into it, which is crazy because Madhouse is like responsible for a shit ton of films, like and like series and things like that. Like they did fucking Wicked City, Ninja Scroll, Perfect Blue, Vampire Hunter D, Trigun, The Black Lagoon,
Whoa.
Death Note, Paprika,
Whoa.
Parasite.
Yeah.
Like they're responsible for so many
Whoa.
different pieces.
Yeah.
And so it was surprising that this is like the thing that kind of just pushed them over the edge of just not making money anymore, because they had been so successful up until that point.
I've never seen an anime movie that hits everything that I want in an anime movie.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
what are those things? What do you usually are looking for?
All right. So first, either like a giant mech or like a giant like fucking
There are
mechanical
mechs
thing.
in this.
Yep.
Several.
Emotional feelings from like someone trying to deal with themselves or with their situation.
It
Fan
is,
service, aka titties. fucking giant monster kaiju fighting each other.
Do you mean Funky Boy?
Funky Boy. And just motherfucking great action and fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see the first 10 minutes of Redline, you know what you're getting into.
Yep.
I read the synopsis for Redline first, and it was like, after an accident due to a sabotage. I was like, all right, so in his first race, he's going to be sabotaged. I forgot about that entirely when you're watching because the race is so immersive.
Yeah.
You're like, this fucking dude's going to win. He's going head to head with her right now. She's fucking hovercrafting over the ocean right now, and like they're head to head, and this is going to be it. And then I was like, oh shit, his shit is fucking, it's strapped. It's going to explode. What the fuck is he going to do? You know, and I knew that was going to happen previously, but they did such a good job of drawing you into this film in that opening that you just completely forget about that and you're just in the story now.
I love the soundtrack, how it goes with these driving things.
So well.
If you drive with the soundtrack, you're gonna crash.
You're gonna go faster.
You're gonna
You
go
gotta
fast.
get
a lot
ticket
faster.
is what's gonna happen.
I've definitely driven while listening to the Redline soundtrack. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
That intro though, it's so fucking good because like you're seeing the top 3 people go in and they're
Right.
going fast, and then there's like, look at JP, he's in the back. He doesn't know how to race. He's
Oh,
like,
man.
what the fuck do you know about racing, man?
I love
I'm
that
barely
he's-
getting started.
I love that he's driving a Trans Am. Like,
oh yeah.
just like a super stylized yellow Trans
Just
Am.
regular run-of-the-mill muscle car.
Well, it's got no weapons, and he's really adamant about not having weapons. He wants to win legitimately and be the fastest person on the track.
And that's when he gets the turbo,
Yeah.
which is fucking
the
sick.
engine, the newer one.
No, just like the turbo in general,
Oh.
just like some weird vial thing that you throw
It's
in and
great.
punch down into
It's
your
such a
fucking
great
thing.
concept for how they can give nitro into the car, where they drop this little pill into the
Yeah.
liquid that goes into the engine, and it just fucking explodes.
All
off
these
the track.
valves are going. The best part is when these cars, they can't even handle that much force.
They're like shaking.
They're like shaking, going to the side, like flipping over.
To be honest, the nitro kind of reminded me of, people taking pills, because I feel like that was
Yes.
something that was used
I
throughout
got
the
that
movie.
vibe too.
Even with, the main villain character was like constantly popping pills and getting more and more
doing fucking
belligerent.
coke. He's like rubbing coke on his gums at one
All the
point.
bad guys are always doing drugs, and I feel like in a way that they're comparing the adrenaline of the race to a
Yes.
drug. These people are
Ooh.
basically adrenaline junkies.
I believe that. Any racer that you ever seen in an interview, they love the adrenaline. Like, that's what they fucking do it for. The risk of dying every time they get in their fucking car.
See how hyped they get for
yeah,
it. Yeah.
they're hyped for that shit.
The cool thing about these, like the nitro scenes and whatnot, is all of like the animation of what's going on inside the car. Like, it's chaotic. Everything's like shaking around and is crazy. He's like, you can tell that he's trying to maintain control, and like the cars themselves are out of control because of the level of speed. And if you have ever driven anything really fast and tried to control it when it gets up higher and higher, it starts becoming like every little turn is like an instant, like a big deviation from the straight. And so it's just like, I don't know, the chaos inside the car matches the chaos of the race.
You got all
And
oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
feel like, honestly, you couldn't have really accomplished that if this wasn't hand-drawn. I feel like if you were trying to do this any other way, it would have been too smooth. I feel like being able to do this hand-drawn makes it that much more, like, detailed and intricate.
Yeah.
Showing all the small movements and jerks and jitters that happen.
We also got to see small details like every fucking screw that they put into these things.
Like
on
the
top of
valves
that.
turning, the hydraulics just going and shooting into the engine. And then finally you get the bust and you see the fucking car like maxing the speed of light. It's like literally the drawing is like splitting into multiple sections.
Oh,
Yeah.
it
And
like
even
stretches.
and he even has like a fucking nosebleed while he's trying to hold his
Yeah.
nosebleeds is also a thing that I require in my animes.
Oh, right.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, they mention at some point that they're experiencing like several G-forces while they're in the cars because they're going so fucking fast.
Yeah.
But I liked the variety in the cars. Like, fucking Sonashi's like hovercraft is fucking dope. Like that, like I would drive a fucking hovercraft like that if
She
that
had
was an
a
option.
sick ass vehicle.
I love their
let me
last
tell
name's
you.
McLaren too. Just like a
McLaren.
straight call out to like a fancy car company.
Yes.
But I mean, it works so well. The intro is amazing because they don't waste any time showing you what the film is.
And that's when you get into the second area of the movie where they're going to be, hey, dude, you made it a Redline. What?
That was great.
And that's when they describe it. It's going to be on Robo World. without their permission.
Oh man, nothing says like an illegal race like just holding it on a planet that doesn't want you. And they're fanatical. They are like racist. They don't want anyone on their planet. They're super fascist.
Bro, they straight up Zig Heil.
Yeah.
Like at one point,
Yeah.
those fucking robots straight up Zig Heil
You're like,
in that
oh.
fucking movie. I laughed so hard when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, they are doing this right now.
Yeah.
I
It
would
is
even
in your
say-
face.
Like even down to the uniforms are very like
Yeah, they had these-
complimentary of Nazi uniforms. Just saying.
We were theorizing about how they got the symbol, and we were just thinking and joking like they probably went to a bathroom and saw a really shitty swastika and just used that.
And it's like, let's add a line over there. All right, there you go. This looks like some fascist
Boom.
imagery. Let's go.
This works.
I can't tell you how many awful swastikas I've seen in like middle school, like desk and bathroom stalls. Oh, I've seen a few that were just straight up kites.
Oh.
What?
I mean, not surprising. Most of these dudes are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I mean, children will do anything to get something out of somebody.
Yeah.
To get your goat.
It should be noted that Frisbee's character, he's voiced by Liam O'Brien, and he
Yes.
voices over 30 characters in Fallout New Vegas.
Jesus Christ.
What?
So
Is-
every time he was talking, I was just seeing another Fallout fucking character.
Is this not the dude who voices Spike in Cowboy Bebop? Or is that a different dude?
It
I
might be a
swear
different
it's him.
dude. I don't know, but he's trying to do a southern accent.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like the voices for him and JP are really recognizable. Like you'll hear them in so many different things, so they just do a crazy amount of voice acting. And the voice acting, the dub for it was like official. Like they got a series of actors to do it, so it wasn't just like this terrible dub that they added in over the film. So you can watch it in its original language in Japanese, or you can watch it in English, and it'll still be a good film.
And it's still on YouTube right now in English.
It is. So like it's just one of those films that managed to get by the detectors on YouTube, and you could just watch the whole thing on it. So you can, in
Right
fact,
on.
go and find Redline online and,
It's
and watch
probably
it.
because Madhouse is done, so they're not really paying
Yeah.
for anyone to watch their copyrighted material.
That's true.
So that's probably why it gets away. They can get away with that.
Let's talk about the moon of Robo World and how like alive it is with so many different things.
It's fucking great. It is like it's a fucking, what is that? What do they call it? A demilitarized zone.
It's like a shanty town of just random
Yeah.
people from everywhere.
Refugees from different
Yep.
planets.
It was meant to be like this large trading post where a bunch of people go because there's essentially no laws. They can do pretty much whatever they want there. And they seem to be proven pretty good.
Slab City.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
real.
Slab City.
Fucking Slab City in space.
That's when you have like all these dogs like betting on the race, and you have like, you know, you meet the four-armed mechanic who's super sick. He's like
I
a
love
drunk
that dude.
Yeah.
He's just like, I
Thick
know about
stash.
racing for so long.
I think he was supposed to be a mole.
The spider mechanic? You were talking about the spider
Yeah,
mechanic?
long
The guy with all the
arms.
arms? He reminds me of the spider from friggin' Spirited Away.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
You said it while we were watching it. You're like, you know what this reminds me of?
That's what I said while I was
I
watching
love
it.
that. I
Great
love
minds
you guys.
think alike.
Yeah, you guys had the same exact idea. He even had the mustache.
Yeah, the thick
big
stash,
bushy
the,
mustache.
like buggy eyes, round head, just kind of like doo-doo-doo. Very helpful, very wise.
I mean, it makes sense they would create like a humanoid spider as a mechanic.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I would want him
because
as my
spiders are like the
mechanic.
builders.
Look at all his arms; he can do a lot of stuff at once.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the thing. He's not tasked with like the like mechanical side of it. They're gonna give it to Frisbee so he could like redesign the entire
Yeah,
thing.
he acquires all the parts.
All he does is just put it in there.
Yep.
This is the best part. One of the best parts of the movie, though, when they introduce all the characters like a video game loading
I
screen.
love that shit. Them introducing them, like every night they had their special night where they're going to show one of the racers, and those interviews are fucking hilarious. Like, this is exactly what should have been in the middle of the film, or else you would have known nothing about these people and you wouldn't care.
Lynchman and Johnny Boya.
Fucking, okay, why the fuck is he called Lynchman? What the fuck? Why is he called Lynchman?
Well,
I don't know, but he runs fucking fast and he's bulletproof.
But you want to know the funniest part about that is the voice actor, the American voice actor for him is black.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
gnarly.
Yeah, and he had no qualms with it either.
I also like how the Bon Bon and Bospos,
Oh my
the
God.
twins,
Two
they,
pop stars.
Yeah, they agree to not use magic,
Yeah.
but the Queen uses magic, and
She's
she's
fucking
fucking
dope.
dope.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, when her big ship shows up, you're just like, oh my god, what's going down? And then they launch all the pods of all the cars out of it, and they're like dodging lasers and shit, like while robots.
That was such an intense start to a race. Like I was like, oh, what's gonna happen?
And then you realize that the finish line is literally the tower of the Capitol,
Yes,
and it's the
man.
hardest shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Fuck you,
really is.
fascists.
Yeah, that really is. It's like a pink finish line that they painted onto their building.
I think what's really funny is that weird crab guy that comes in and he like starts eating all of Soshi's food.
Oh,
And
you
then-
gonna eat that?
And then he's like, "Oh, that's my partner over there. Yeah, he's the one getting his ass kicked."
Okay, could I just say I love this dude, the one that was getting his ass kicked, the one that's just like crying
As he
And-
whoops
okay,
his
no,
ass.
wait, actually, he was the one doing the ass kicking.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. This dude that rolls in just like in tears, fucking wailing on this dude, and the guy's like, "Yeah, the more he cries, the stronger he gets." He's just like, "Don't you talk to me like that."
I'm pretty sure that was Little Daizuna. I
Yes.
think is the character.
I'm just saying, if there's ever a character that was me, that's fucking me right
I love
there,
that dude.
crying and throwing
Just, like,
punches. Why are you
Disobey
so
his orders
mean?
to go and find this dude.
You
to
left
whoop
the
his ass.
military. Why?
So upset that he got left in the military by one of his closest friends who was probably in love with at some point and was just like, why did you leave me? And chases him down the whole fucking rest of the movie.
Whoa! All right, one of my favorite villains is Machine Head.
Oh, you know what? Machine Head is not a
No.
villain though.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. He's not really, but I mean,
He's
he
an
kind of
opponent.
acts like one though.
He is like the champion though. Like he is the
Yeah.
Redline champion like 4 or 5 times over.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he has this little cat that he has, or dog.
No,
a
it's
dog.
a Shih Tzu.
Yeah, it's a little dog that he has with him. He's like, no, you don't understand. All these racers, they got nothing on me. I am my race car. He even has his own theme music when he comes in. They're like, Machine Head. You're like, what the fuck? This is the dopest shit. He's so fucking big. And like the dude comes in, he's like, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? Like ready to fight him, and then he's like, oh, okay, never mind. But like he's ready to fight that dude as soon as he comes in. What was his name? The dude with the fake pompadour. He had like a metal pompadour.
Oh, I don't know his name, but he was one of the commanders.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna fight JP at one
Wait.
point.
Wait. Another requirement for good anime in general is ridiculous hairstyles.
Yes.
Oh.
It's a requirement. And that ridiculous pompadour reminds me of fucking Space Dandy, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
See Space Dandy.
Hell yeah. See Space Dandy and also see ridiculous.
Afro Samurai.
Literally, this movie is just an alternate dimension where Space Dandy is actually a racer.
Yes, and he's not like just a pirate.
And he's not. Excuse me, Space Dandy's a monster, an alien hunter. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, he's a headhunter basically,
Combing the galaxy like his pompadour.
who has an obsession with titties.
Boobies. They're a chain of restaurants across the galaxy.
That is the funniest part of Space Dandy, that there's like a giant chain where that is the theme. Like you go and all the waitresses, it's like Hooters in space. That's essentially what that is, and it's fucking hilarious.
I'm here for Hooters in space. Also goth Hooters.
I love that became such a strong thing on the internet.
Give it to me, please.
All right, so what were some of your favorite scenes from Redline then? Because there was a lot of good moments in this.
Just the whole movie.
Yes,
Yeah,
start to
honestly.
finish, everything. It is not long enough.
I think my favorite scene was when the military comes in when they're about to get into this brawl at the restaurant in the
Yeah.
very beginning. And, you know, Machine Head stands up, he's doing his thing, and then you see the lights come in from the background, and
Oh,
like
that's right.
everyone's watching, and then it just explodes into chaos. The aquariums or whatever inside the restaurant
That
break
sucks.
and floods the place.
Yeah.
Oh, that was intense. That was an intense moment because I didn't know what I was expecting. I thought maybe this was just him like powering up his punch, but then, you know, the bad guys come in, and I think it was a good way to introduce the bad guys. Like, this is what they're about, coming into a demilitarized zone, like full force, literally smashing into this place. It was an intense build-up.
Yeah, I feel that. Because the thing is, they're not allowed to be there. And
Yeah.
then it ramps up because they take out the big giant cannon, like Lynchman and Robo, or what is it, Johnny Boya, take out
yeah.
the cannon prior to the fucking
They're fucking
race.
great. They're like, why are we doing this again? Like, they even explain it.
The stretching part.
Yes.
Where they fucking stretch before they fucking
They're
do
like,
the
all right,
mission.
here we go. And they're like stretching, doing high kicks, like that's part of their routine.
I just felt like they were superheroes.
They
not
were superheroes.
assassins.
No, they were superheroes.
Oh, they are?
Well, I mean, they were like, what's the word? Bounty hunters?
Yeah.
They were bounty hunters. That's what they said. They're like the fastest bounty hunters ever, is like their theme. Like they were even like, they showed moments of where it looked like they were on their own TV show.
Right. Oh yeah, it's like now you could buy Lynch Man's Fights, Volume 7.
Yeah, it was
And it
great.
said like Lynch Man movie production.
Yeah, like he owns a production company to hype themselves up.
I think my favorite scene is the one with Mickey and fucking Todoroki
just screaming in their fucking
You're
vehicle.
the man, Mickey.
I love that the cop ended up being the one who like released Funky Boy because he just dug way too deep into the ground.
Just like, what? Where the fuck am
Yeah,
I?
falls right into it, and I assume just dies.
You're right. And then there's his great reprise where he's like, "Fuck you, you fucking pompadour poser." Or rockabilly poser or whatever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, rockabilly poser. That was a good one-liner.
Okay, but when Bospos and Bonbon become the mech and they start wailing on these fucking planes that have people inside of them.
That's one of my
All
favorite
dead.
scenes.
They're
Personally.
inside the boobs of the mech too.
Oh my god. It's pink see-through boobs that
Aren't
they're
the
piloting
titties like
from.
glowing too?
Yes, they're like sparkly glowing.
They start like
Love it.
like moving their fingers and using magic to totally
they
crush
like
these
tickled
people.
one of them, but they just like exploded. There was a lot of sexual innuendos in this movie, I
There's a
have to say.
lot.
I mean, the ending was pretty much a climax finish, just saying.
Yep. Oh yeah. If the pompadours wasn't phallic enough for you,
Yeah.
the car's engines were.
Oh, God.
And the fucking pompadour won the race.
He won by inches because of his
Yeah.
pompadour.
Yeah, he got those inches.
I also love that the spider guy comes through at the end to kill the boss and be like,
Yeah.
this is one of my favorite parts of the movie. The mechanic, the junkyard trader, and the racer are all on the same team. We are all basically a family.
Yep. He totally says it too. He does accidentally set off the bomb on his car though.
No, he sets it up on purpose.
No, he's drunk. He does it by accident.
No, he did it on purpose. It gave
Yeah,
him the
'cause he
extra
needs-
boost.
needs
Yeah,
more-
he does
he
it
needs
to
more
give him a
kick.
boost. He says he needs a
Yeah.
boost. I'm gonna do this for him, and then he blows
And
the
it
car.
lit his car
Really?
on fire, and his
I
car,
thought it was
his car
on.
just
I
like
thought it was on
took
accident.
off. Yeah,
Because
no,
what's
that
his
was
name? Frisbee freaks
intentional.
out after that happened. Well, yeah, it works.
But another thing, I was looking around, and a lot of people were saying, is it possible that JP and Sonoshi died at the end of this?
They do die.
Do they? Okay.
They die. They win with the hair, and then their souls are like together, and they go off into the afterlife kissing each other.
Whoa, I totally didn't catch that
And
when I watched it.
It's not a disqualification if you die in Redline. You can still win if your body makes the finish line.
Where's this
Shit.
ruling at?
On the wiki.
On the wiki.
Yeah, I mean they all cheer them for winning and whatnot at the very end, but they have both died at the end of the movie.
I did
though.
not take them as dying at all. I thought that the steam light that they use, the special nitro they brings in, basically like gave them it's like infusing energy into the car into them. So I thought that
They
were
actually crossed and they would be able to float.
they were surrounded by the energy, and then they were able to float down when it was like leaving their bodies.
Well, here's the thing. They're never going to make a sequel to Redline, so you could have
might.
whatever ending you want. Do you want them to die? Do you
no,
want
not
them to
at all.
live?
No,
I
they
want them to live. They
What?
deserve to live.
Yeah, they win together and have like their final loving kissing. That's like my favorite part.
Okay, I actually have to say I was kind of upset that she didn't get to win the race on her own, if that was a possibility.
Yeah, that's true.
I dislike that she just kind of like sat up next to him like, okay, baby, we'll do this together.
Yeah,
Curled
it's
up.
true.
He's
I mean,
gonna
it
win
was
with the-
kind of cute, but at the same time, I wanted her to have a part in it too.
He
Just
was going to
saying.
win with a
Just
goddess
saying.
by his side.
He totally
that was
says
so
it.
fucking cheesy. I
Cheesy.
loved it.
I can't lose. I've got a goddess on my side.
I do really like that once they won, the other racers were very happy about it. Like they were just happy to have the experience of doing such a crazy race.
I mean, but isn't the finish line also a metaphor for crossing over to the other side?
Yo.
An
Yo.
end to the journey. So like it's like a finality to the whole thing.
I was thinking it was like an orgasm, but I guess the two are the same, aren't they?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're very close
That's
together.
the big orgasm.
I
Yeah,
swear, if you
it's
mention
the
the
big
little
death.
orgasm
Wait,
again,
Okay,
The
so
little death and the big death.
but wait, who believes that they died at the end of this movie? I believe they died.
I
at the end
believe
of the
they
movie.
died.
I don't wanna. I
No.
don't wanna
You don't
believe
wanna
it.
no,
fucking believe
no,
it.
I don't think they died.
Wikipedia disagrees.
No.
Fuck Wikipedia.
Oh.
Does the wiki say they died?
The anime wiki does.
No, it doesn't.
Look
You're
it
a
up.
liar.
Did you JP and Sonoshi die at the end of Redline?
Oh, he's looking it up.
Hold on, I'm gonna go look for it right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get
It's-
back to you in a second.
I mean, it's really up to interpretation here, as all art
I
is. So if
also-
you want to interpret it that
course.
way, that they had super mega force fields that protected them from that velocity, then sure.
It was love. Love
It
was their
love
shield.
was their shield against the exploding car.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Robo World is dead after this because they basically made that commander guy a giant fucking like kaiju and like absorb Funky Boy, and like I don't know, like did you see that fucking the fucking tower's the finish line? Like,
Yeah.
pretty sure
That's
Robo
like
World
the
is
coolest
dead.
shit, to have the finish line be the fucking tower. Like they're just rubbing it in their faces.
And didn't she have to like crash her ship into the tower to make a ramp to get to the finish line at the end? Isn't that what happened?
Oh yeah, she's like, check
the
it out.
queen, The queen crashed
She's
her
like,
giant
check it out.
ship.
She's like, there's no way to the top of the tower. And then her fucking giant ship becomes the
I
entrance.
think she like launched it out of hyperspace directly into the building to make a platform for the racers to then get to the finish line, that's a pretty baller move, if I must say so myself.
It's one of the only magic scenes in the movie, and it's dope.
Gotta have a little.
The other thing is like she is his inspiration for racing, which I think is what a really good part that they touched on. Just like her determination to get her car out and do it all herself and whatnot is what inspired him to even want to race in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think that's
like when they're
beautiful.
kids, she's like, I'm not like you amateur racers. Like, I'm gonna win Redline someday. You guys don't know anything.
Oh, that was such a touching scene.
And then
I
you see,
actually
like-
almost cried watching
You see all
that.
these scenes with like JP and Frisbee growing up, like riding bikes and getting into fights and getting fucking beat. Frisbee got justice, I believe.
I mean, I guess he's still a piece of shit for
Yeah.
like basically ruining his racing career and like getting this bad mark of being a fixer.
That's the thing. Gambling and cheating isn't worth it in that world.
Yeah, it's really not like something that they are benefiting from. Plus, they're like indebted to the mob.
Yeah, they did that a lot. They're like, all right, so the bets are in. We locked in on JP losing at the final stretch. He's gonna get everyone's like money back up there, and then he's gonna lose on purpose. That's why I like his style. He does not do anything crazy. He's not using weapons. He stays in the back for like 2/3 of the race. Then he hits the hyperdrive. And then the first time he uses the hyperdrive on Redline, his fucking car turns into a skipping stone across the water.
A literal frisbee.
And it just fucking fucks all physics in the ass.
Now, they're alive. It doesn't have a death date for them. Any wiki that has characters has a death date for them, and it mentions how they die. It just says that they both win and that they confess their love for each other.
Okay.
Then we have like a Lady in the Tiger scenario here, where fucking like, is the lady eaten by the tiger or is she not eaten by the tiger? It's up to you.
I'm too
watcher.
much of a sucker for the romance to be like, nah, they're not gonna fucking die in this movie.
I don't want no Romeo and Juliet bullshit. I
Yeah,
want them to
for
live
real.
happily ever after.
Also, Machine Head had won the last 5 Redline, so he was like on his way to be the champion again, and then was very happy to participate in that kind of race. How did you feel about the American casting, the voices they brought for the dub?
They did
some,
fine.
some people don't like it.
I wasn't mad. I actually think for like what it was, they did a decent job at voice acting, unlike a lot of other dubbed animes that I had seen.
This one was a good dub. This is a
Yeah.
good dub.
One of the only good dubs.
Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot of them that exist where you're like, oh, this is pretty good. It's probably because it's usually a separate team that didn't work on the project. They just get brought in for the voices, and so they don't feel the same kind of passion for the work.
Are you guys really familiar with anime?
Yes.
Do you guys watch it, like, personally?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a really good group to watch a movie
Yeah.
like this because we actually watch other anime outside of whatever is recommended on here.
If you would recommend 2 shows, what would you recommend to people who don't really check out anime?
So other anime shows to
or
check out?
movies.
Or movies.
I would recommend watching Chobits.
Ooh,
Chobits is what got me started with anime.
that's a good one. No,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know about that.
Oh.
Can you give like a brief description of it?
Well, it's definitely not for kids, although I watched it when I was in like middle school. But basically, there are these things called persicoms, which are humanoid robots, but they're also basically computers. And so the show touches a lot about what makes somebody a person, and is this sentient computer actually a human, or is she a robot? Is she capable of love? Basically,
Okay.
that's what I would say the show is about.
That's a good
and
one.
another one, watch Attack on Titan. It's a rush.
You feel like having just
scary.
a very sad day. Go in and watch Attack on Titan.
To be honest, not many things really freak me out, but I have to say that opening scene with
It's
like
unsettling.
the Titan peering over the wall terrified me.
The crazy thing about that is it gets so in depth, and by the third season, there's so many twists. Like now that they don't even have to like worry about Titans, they have to worry about the people inside the walls,
extremely
like betraying
convoluted.
each other.
Yeah.
Well, they essentially start saying that people have the ability to transform at will
It's fucking
into
crazy.
the Titans, and then they have to worry about people infiltrating them like that. And that's like what they're worrying about now.
I would recommend Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes.
It's a good mech.
It's really good. I know
And it's
people
really
say it a lot,
in-depth.
but it's a good.
It is a really good one. But here's the thing: like I watched the ending and I didn't like it originally because I didn't understand the concept.
Okay.
Then I watched the ending of Neon Genesis Evangelion, the movie. They made a movie for the ending because people didn't like it. And honestly, I like both the endings now, and it's a really emotional and one of the loneliest fucking animes I've ever seen.
It's sad. Like it legit has a very sad ending.
And then I would also recommend Berserk
Ooh,
because Berserk is amazing.
right. Content warning for Berserk. They have a very vigorous, aggressive rape scene.
They have a lot.
Well,
Of-
like 2 or 3, I
yeah.
think, in the whole series. So
And it's very bloody,
Yeah.
but it's a fucking ride for sure. The ending of a Berserk. I mean, that's the thing. My rule about anime is if you have a season with 25 to 26 episodes, you're going to love it and you're going to cry at the end of it.
yeah, most likely. What about you, Mitch?
I have too many animes that I really like. I won't recommend Berserk because I don't think it's for everybody. It's definitely one of those ones that I don't think not everyone's going to get into this and be like, oh, I'm stoked on this anime. You know, I personally love it, but that's not why I would recommend it. If I were to say like animes to recommend to people, like Samurai Champloo, fucking
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop,
Yep.
Space Dandy, all done by like the same director,
Yeah.
but really good, like quality content. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's a really
100%.
good, like, that has like all of the stuff in anime that you're looking for, and I think it's accessible to pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Why not?
You can watch the whole series in like a day.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Claymore.
Yeah.
That's one of my faves,
Oh,
like,
man.
easily. I've read the entire manga as well. That's one of the only animes that I went and was like, I need the entire manga. I need to know exactly what happens, and this story's amazing.
Shit.
But yeah, Claymore is fucking dope. If you want to see, like, demon slayer chicks with big fucking swords killing demons, that's that fucking anime, and
Yeah.
it's great.
That one's fucking dope. I haven't watched that in a while.
That's all I got, though.
Let's see. If you're looking for something that is on the like American side that is going towards that vibe of being an anime, you should watch the Animatrix. That's like one of like a really great intro because it's an anthology series with multiple directors, including people from Japan. So you end up getting like very, very established directors making the anthology pieces for it. So that'd be like one of them. As far as like other anime that I would recommend, you did hit some of them. Like Samurai Champloo is amazing because it's a blend of like old school feudal Japan with a modern hip hop vibe that's added on top of it because of the band that made the music for it. And you actually have characters that are not just white or Japanese. You actually have like people who are black and other people who are really interesting in that. On that note, you should go watch Afro Samurai because
hell yeah.
having Samuel L. Jackson as the voice is amazing.
Uh-huh.
That's a good like 6 episode, like you could watch that
It's
in like
so
a sitting.
short, but you're
Yeah.
gonna love every fucking moment of it because it's so good. Another one I would recommend. I just had it. What is it called? Oh, it's a series I watched recently on Netflix called Megaloboxing.
Oh, yeah.
I got obsessed with it when I watched it. It's super short. You can watch it in like a day or two.
Oh shit.
The series is about professional boxing in this like world where it's become like a world event, but they've added on like these exosuits on top of their arms to like enhance their boxing abilities. And that's like the whole series. This dude is just trying to win the championship for the Megaloboxing. And it's so well done. You have really well choreographed fighting scenes. They don't like cut away from anything. And the main character is one of those characters that you absolutely love. And you will not like hate anything about him. And it wraps it up so well. Like it's just one season. It's good to go. That's all you got to watch. It's like watching Cowboy Bebop where you have the one season. That's it. There's nothing else to the story. Although this one is chronological. So you have to watch it from the beginning to the end.
bang.
Before we're almost done, I also want to do a Kill la Kill. It's another good
Yep.
Recommendation.
Yeah.
That's another
That-
fun
Oh
one.
yeah, the fucking fashion anime.
Yeah.
Pretty much. While you're at it, you should watch Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, dude. No. Gurren
Giant
Lagann's
mess.
dope, dude. Gurren Lagann's great. I honestly say, like, if you can watch like the OVAs of it,
Yes.
I think that's what those are called. If you can watch the OVAs of it, I think those are a little bit preferable to watching like the full thing with all the fluff in it. I'd say the same thing for Berserk also, like the full films they
Yes,
did for it
watch
are
those.
were better than the original anime just because they compacted it all really well.
I have two more. I didn't realize how much anime we watched.
Oh, man.
You should watch Helsing. Or Helsing. You should watch
yeah.
Helsing Ultimate.
Yeah,
Is what you
Hellsing.
should watch.
Hellsing is some
It's
shit.
a great fucking adaptation of the manga, and you just love his character so much. He's ridiculously evil in the anime and as well as the manga, and he's so likable, even though he's like a bloodthirsty demon at that point. And then, oh god, what was the other one? Samurai 7, which is like I haven't cried so much than when I watched Samurai 7 and got to the end.
I know a lot of people really like superheroes after the Marvel thing, so My Hero Academia is also a good one. But
my God.
I'm only bringing that up because the
love My Hero
funniest
Academia. I love
funniest
that
thing
show.
happened when I went to the Comic-Con panel.
Yeah.
So he had a translator up there, and a guy comes up. He's like, "So, what's your favorite Western superhero?" And he goes up to the mic, "Spider-Man." and everyone in the fucking room standing up. They're like, "Yeah!" I've never seen like thousands of nerds get up so fucking quick and just like scream. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Spider-Man is the dopest Marvel hero, though.
Yeah.
Kind of is the dopeness.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the only one that's had like a racial change as well as all the other heroes.
There's multiple Spider-Mans.
There's multiple Spider-Mans
Yeah.
as well.
Into
So
the
that was kind of
Spider-Verse,
cool.
yo.
It's such
That's
an
such a
underrated
good
movie.
But that's
Oh,
the
it's
thing
so good.
with Redline. It's such an underrated movie. Not a lot of people fucking
Yeah.
talk about it. Not a lot of people praise it. Over 7 years of production, 100,000 hand drawings. I think it deserves better. And
Yeah.
if you are still waiting to see if you're going to watch it, go on YouTube and fucking watch it, and then watch it again with your friends, and then watch it another time.
Oh
in
yeah,
like 10
please
years.
watch it by yourself so you can cry. No one's gonna say anything to you because I know some people are weird about that and they don't want to cry in front of people because this will make you cry if you watch it by yourself. It's definitely one of those things.
Did you cry?
I cry for like anything, but like I was super invested in watching it because like this is so great. It's easily one of my favorite animes, one of my favorite films to watch because I'm excited the whole way through. I empathize a lot with the main character because he's supposed to be like your like underdog hero, so anybody can fit into like, yes, I'm trying to fight like giant corporations or other people in this event, and he's winning on just pure skill of racing and he's not using any weapons. So like he's just this inspiring, honorable character that you just like you want to be him because he's so cool. And that is like one of the coolest things about watching it is that like even though he's meant to be a parody of like the American Greaser, like with his hair and everything, he's still like a really likable character. He's not going to be like a dick about most things. He's really nice. And like even the relationship they build with him and Sonoshi is actually like pretty respectful.
Yeah.
Like they don't just like have sex like within the first time, and they've known each other their whole lives.
Yeah.
Like he knew her since she was a kid and was racing like well
And he
before
used
him.
to admire her. He
Yeah.
used to watch her race.
He admits
and he was
to that.
inspired too by the way that she raced to race himself.
Exactly.
I mean, I thought the movie did a very like tasteful innuendo in this one. It did it very tastefully, and to the point where you're like, this is kind of funny and ridiculous, but
Yeah.
it's anime. Fuck it. It's supposed to be
Fuck
that way.
it.
Yeah, there's been a few endings on anime where it's nothing but fan service. They want you to be happy about the ending of the film, and they don't want you to feel terrible when you leave it.
I mean, and Redline kind of does that as well, where
Yeah.
we even debated over what we thought the ending
Right,
was.
yeah.
And so that even makes it great in its own because it encourages discussion
Yeah.
over the film even when it's done.
All right. What would you rate these films, and would you recommend it to somebody to watch?
Speed Racer, probably like a 6 or 7. I can't really decide. The ninja fight kind of brings me to a 7. And then like hands down Redline is an 11 to 12 out of 10. It's a perfect movie. I know if I watch it 10 years from now, it's still going to be as good as I watch it tomorrow. I recommend both of these. Speed Racer not so much, maybe on a every now and then. Redline is a perfect movie. I'll fight anyone who disagrees. You hear that?
Speed Racer gets like a 6 out of 10 from me. Not that I didn't enjoy all the action scenes, but there was a lot to be asked for with all the dialogue in between all those scenes that it was really hard for me to stay interested at that point. But when the races started, glued. I was into it at that point. And then Redline's a 10 out of 10. Easy.
I would probably have to say Speed Racer is like a 5.5 for me. Because really, for me, it was really just an exciting thing to watch. It was visually stunning, but besides that, I feel like the messages were there, but they were very light, and there wasn't really anything that profound going on in the movie. So yeah, I would give it about a 5.5. However, Redline, I would give it a 9.5. I don't give it a solid 10 because I'm kind of somebody that likes to see resolution and like what happens after. So I wanted something to happen after the race. I wanted to see if the government was going to try and come in again and bust them or something. But that is like probably my only thing that I wish I got out of the movie. But honestly, the way it did end, it was kind of a perfect ending. Almost
you do
perfect
get
ending.
a little bit of clip art saying that the guy goes to jail, but that's kind of it.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of stuff.
I want more resolution, but other than that, it's a beautiful movie. It's really well done. You won't see anything like it. I highly recommend watching it if you have not seen it already.
All right. I disagree with all of you.
Fuck off.
A rare moment where I may not ever say this again on the podcast, but I give them both 10s. And I'll tell you why. So for Speed Racer, I'm a huge Speed Racer fan because I watched it when I was a kid. I actually watched it as a Saturday morning cartoon, like when it was coming on.
Yeah.
And like they would do the reruns for it because it obviously wasn't premiering because it's like the 1960s cartoon. But like they would show it on like certain channels and I'd be glued to it. I'd sit in front of the TV and watch it. And it was one of the things I would watch in the morning. And the vibe that you got from the Speed Racer cartoon is exactly what the movie is. Like anyone who loves Speed Racer is going to love the movie. Anyone who didn't like it, they just didn't watch enough Speed Racer to begin with. And they didn't know
That's
what it
fair.
was supposed to be about. And it's meant to be weird. It's quirky. It's not that serious. It's very funny. And they have the slapstick humor that they have through the whole thing. So the fact that they're saying that it was light on plot, the whole series was light on plot. You hardly get to know anything about Speed Racer and his family while you're watching the cartoon to begin with. So the movie actually had a little more than what you would have expected watching the Speed Racer series. And on top of that, I loved all of the action for it. So like this is ridiculous cars doing things they're not supposed to do in like any films. And then Redline is perfect. Like this is like one of those films where I really could not find anything wrong with it because I was having so many emotions while I was watching it. And I was super invested in the ending and I didn't like turn away while I was watching it the first time. Every bit of it. And then I watched it again because I was like, maybe I missed something. And like I was like turned away and looking at something different for a moment. And then went and watched it again. There's only like one other movie that I ever did that with, which was The Life of Pi.
Oh, okay.
Where I watched that and then watched it again immediately afterwards because I thought it was so fucking good. And so this is one of those films where I watched it immediately afterwards and thought it was so fucking good. Especially like to have a character that is so inspiring to a lot of people who watch it. And then to see all of the work, like they really put in a lot of work for the animation of the film. And you can see it in every single frame of the movie where there's no details like spared on it.
There's so much love in Redline given to that
Yeah.
medium. They like that 7 years is 7 years of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, holy
put
shit.
into that movie.
They put so much work into it, and it's definitely seen me watch. So highly recommend to go watch it. I would only suggest watching Speed Racer if you watched a lot of Speed Racer cartoons. Otherwise, it'll just be enjoyable and fun. And you have to have sort of like the right mindset going into it, which is weird to say. But like this is totally a thing when people are watching films, is that the expectations can kill a lot of films for you. So like one of the examples I always use is that when I watched Man with the Iron Fist, which was like a Quentin Tarantino presents movie, and it had like RZA and all these other people in it, I fucking hated it the first time I watched it because I was expecting it to be a really serious action movie like Iron Monkey or something. And it wasn't. And then I was like, wait, no, this movie was intended to be really terrible. And I rewatched it and ended up liking it a lot the second and like third time that I watched it.
Yeah.
And like I walked out of the movie theater the first time I watched it.
I think that's one of the things that like a lot of people need to take into consideration when they're viewing any sort of work is consider what the intent of this work is.
Right.
Who is it intended for? You know, what is the purpose of them putting in these set pieces and these particular parts of dialogue? Why did they say something a certain way, et cetera, et cetera? And so if you take all that into consideration when considering movies, I think. And so, yeah. So therefore, Speed Racer is potentially a perfect film simply because it tried its goal was to emulate the show, and according to you, it has emulated it basically perfectly.
It's basically taken what was in the show and just made it longer. They made it like an hour instead of your like 15-20 minute episodes
exactly.
of them being just quirky and doing weird shit, like hiding in the trunk of the Mach 5. So it's just like there's a lot of cool shit that they had for it, and I would definitely recommend going to watch the cartoon as well, because it's like if you haven't watched old school cartoons, they're really slapstick humor. Just it's still funny for some reason to watch that kind of stuff, and then it's so it doesn't expect a lot from the audience, so it's easy to watch. You don't really have to be super invested in what you're watching, and they're quick. It's like 10-15 minute episodes, and it's totally worth it. Did you guys have any final thoughts about either film?
Go watch them. They're good.
Just watch Redline, man. That's all you need. Just go watch it. See it. Experience the glory that is that movie.
And recommend it to your friends.
Any final thoughts, Justine?
They're good movies. Just go watch them.
Cool. Then I want to remind everyone we're super easy to find on all of the streaming services. Just go and Google Bringing Down the Grindhouse, and you can find us on all of our social medias, which is BDTGH_podcast, or you can go to bdtghpodcast.com, and you'll be able to find all of our episodes there. You can listen in the site or go to one of the streaming sites that works better for you. If you can, leave a review on those streaming sites where you can leave a 4 or 5 star review for us. We really appreciate the feedback, and it helps us get seen on the site more easily. If you have any recommendations, please message us. We're usually trying to reply to everyone who messages us. We love taking recommendations, and we absolutely love if you join the Patreon, where you can see a lot of behind the scenes stuff like our bloopers, which is stuff we record before the episode and gets cut out until we actually start the episode, as well as other discussions, as well as the segments that each of us is doing where you're able to get some extra content. So if you want to find the Patreon, it is linked on our website on the main page next to the intro video. And you can also find it in most of the posts that we put out. We do put the Patreon link in there as well. But thanks so much for coming out to discuss these. I hope everyone has a good night.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jonathan. Thank you.
You're the man, Mickey. You're the man. I know. I'm sorry.